a court of appeal, not a judgment, has, in a ruling, told Adams Oshiomhole to step aside as the chairman of the All Progressive Congress pending the determination of the main case.
Yes.
And a lot of people saw this as opportunity to lay claim to the leadership of that party. As at this morning, the Giadom-led group addressed a press conference this afternoon. The ones loyal to Adams Oshiomhole, by extension, Senator Ajimobi, who is meant to be the deputy national chairman, actually addressed our own press conference to going ahead to set up the panel for Edo State. Jide, just give us an overview. Make it simple to viewers. What is happening and what is the position?
Well, remember, I think in the second week of March, I was in Abuja and we looked at this matter, and I said that Oshiomhole made a mistake from the beginning. His suspension should have been challenged. Yes, he shouldn't have allowed it to even get to this point.
What level?
Yes, he was suspended. They didn't even have a quorum, but they went ahead, suspended him. He should have challenged it at that time. Maybe he felt that they would not be able to go far. But the truth is, given the whimsical nature of our judicial system, anything can happen. So we had at that time a situation in which the APC members, including the leaders, were pulling in different directions, like the kind of rivalry and fight for game between hyenas and lions. They are never best of friends. Hyenas like to steal lions' prey. Once the lions have killed a prey, they will come, and a clan of hyenas will come to the scene and intimidate the lions with their huge numbers and take custody of the prey. That was how I saw them, and that was how I described them. What happened yesterday clearly was targeted at helping Obaseki to take control of things in Edo State, but it came a little late. I also want to believe that for the Oshiomhole group, they didn't foreclose totally the possibility of this happening. You will see that not only did they immediately they disqualified Obaseki, within 48 hours the appeal court, the appeal committee ratified it, so that whatever the judgment came yesterday would not affect what had happened. I've heard some people, when this kind of things happen, everyone becomes an emergency lawyer. I've heard people say, all the decisions that Oshiomhole took are inconsequential. But the decisions he took were permitted by the court. Because the court, once the court gives a stay of execution and says you can continue with your job. Remember when that first decision was made by the court, he stayed away from the party secretariat. He stayed away. But the stay of execution enabled him to return to the party secretariat and continued his work. So no one can say that all the actions that he took as chairman of the party were null and void, because the court permitted him to take those actions. And once the court says, no, at this point you can no longer exercise your powers as the chairman of the party, it stays like that. So that is the situation of things. It makes no sense to say all the actions that he took.
Okay. The other lap of the question I want to ask you, the Assistant Secretary General that actually addressed the press conference this morning,
yes,
now went ahead to nullify what the screening committee did, and they called on aspirants to come again between today and tomorrow. I read that is next, so that they can be rescreened.
And let's wait and see whether you will be able to screen anybody. You see the NWC, you see the NEC, where they did derive his powers from. This is just an attempt to ambush everyone. You see, they left. He resigned from the party. I mean, he resigned his position to contest as deputy governor in Rivers State. Ideally, they should have ratified that designation, but they left it because they were trying to bring him on side. Remember people like Abdul Kadri, who had fought Oshomole for some time. Abdul Kadri is back with them now. That's the national vice chairman, Northwest, the Sokoto man, the lawyer. He's back with Oshomole and co. They were reaching out to him in the hope that he would be able to come back to them. That was why they left. They didn't.
So that is like a booby trap for him now.
No, hold on. I'll get to I'll get somewhere. So when they left that position for him, they were hoping, okay, he could come back, become part of us again. He will be on our side again, because Oshomole actually started reconciliation moves. That's why people like Shuaibu, the man from the northeast, came back. You know, he too was suspended. So the plan was to bring Giadom back. So they left this issue unattended. They didn't ratify the resignation. But immediately, what happened yesterday happened, and they saw his moves. They went quickly and then ratified the resignation, which means that he is no longer
a member
yes,
of the NWC.
I asked people, because the impression that people gave was that, oh, he had taken over the secretariat. You know, the social media is an avenue for reckless rumor mongering. So I asked people, I said, has Giadom taken over the secretariat of the party? And they said no, that they didn't see him there. So the truth is, the NWC, as the decision-making organ of the party, has taken a decision. What the law says, section section 14, subsection 2, section 14, 2, subsection 3, mandates the party, in the absence of the chairman, the deputy chairman from that zone, from the south, because they have two deputy chairmen, one from south, one from north. Shuaibu is the person from the north. Now, it mandates that the person from the south to take over. Now, the person who should take over is not disposed at this. It's disposed at this time. So the decision is that the person from the geopolitical zone of the deputy, the vice chairman from the geopolitical zone of the chairman should then take over. And that's why Hillary Etta has taken over. And there was a meeting, 13 of them physically present, in fact, including the woman leader. I
have the signature here. I have the attendance sheet here.
And then three of them were attended by virtual means. And the decision was taken. So if there are 21 of them and 16 out of 21 took this decision, then you cannot say that the NWC has done anything wrong, because that's clearly the majority.
They went for that. They went for that to set up the committee for the primary election. Don't forget that that is next Monday to set up the appeal committee. And the Senator Hope Uzodinma was actually the governor of Imo State. Is the one to lead the primary election in Edo State. That's with APC.
But before I come to that, I think we need to go to the beginning of the beginnings. And this matter shouldn't have got it. Without prejudice to what Jide said about Adams Oshomole not having appealed the ward, Esako Ward 10, precisely. The word suspension.
That is village
Yamo. Ward 10 suspension. Then going on to the LGA, then going on to the state. Now, these are just the first 3 levels in the administrative process for the suspension of a member of the NWC of that party.
If he's a member of NWC.
Yeah, if he's a member operating at that level. So you have the ward, you have the LGA, you have the state, then you have the NWC itself, then you have the NEC, which is the highest ruling body of that party. And this is what the Constitution says. And I must say here categorically that the issue with this whole suspension thing is a bit funny, because at the first 3 levels you have done what you are supposed to do. But then that is not valid when the NWC and the NEC hasn't even ratified. Don't forget, there's an administrative precedence to this. Moise Banire
in
Lagos State. So I'm a bit worried that some hawks in the party are trying to
suspended in motion.
You know, exactly.
It was suspended in motion,
and all of that.
The letter was submitted to the states,
but the NWC, the NEC,
led by Oyegun that time,
did not
ratify it.
Did not ratify. And as long as this, and as long as that ratification does not take place, what happens? Can you say he's suspended? It's just like the local government thing. You say that the state has done everything that is supposed to be done, but then the National Assembly then has to pass it on. And so you say that the creation of those local governments are inchoate. So what we have here is a process that has not been followed through. Administrative process for the suspension of the chairman has not been followed through. In any case, Oshomole has not been removed as the chairman of the All Progressive Congress. He's only been asked to step aside pending the determination here, not just legal, but also administrative. Because every time you hear, pending the examination of the issues around not just the cases in court, but also you have administrative issues here. All right, that these are the NWC, at the NEC, these cases have not been dealt with, and then you are in court as well. So we have a whole lot of things to go through. Now, it's also amazing to imagine that how do you suspend...
The NWC has since passed a vote of confidence.
Exactly, that's what we're saying.
So
it's not been ratified.
The court, but the problem is the court. The cases are in the court.
Yes,
they must first dispense with those.
They look at it and
you know it takes time.
It could get to Supreme Court level.
Exactly. So, and then a chairman that has 14 of his people behind him.
16. 16
right.
is on what we
so you have that number behind you. You look at that. How is it possible that these things are happening if some people in the party are not just trying to rock the boat and all of that? But I think that as things go, the constitution of the party, I think, is so straightforward. The structure in the party is so straightforward from what I see. The man who should take over from Oshomole while he steps aside should be Senator Ajumobi, who is the vice chairman Deputy Chairman South. And then in his place, if he is not available to take over, will be the Vice Chairman South, who is Larietta. So I don't see why people are causing all this turbulence.
Jide, let me bring you back. This takes us back to where we stopped. You know, we've been talking about several attempts to remove Oshomole. That will be the clincher to the groups within the APC, the anti-Oshomole elements, and some people have described them as all this bullying is going down to the ambition, 2023 presidential ambition. So if we put a name to them saying that, this particular faction, it seems they will not stop at anything to make sure that Oshomole is out of that position from the look of things, because I don't know what can give this deputy secretary the effrontery to address the press today with a few members of the EXCO.
We shouldn't waste too much time on Giadom. He did a similar thing when he called for that meeting, and the president showed leadership. That meeting didn't take place. Did the meeting take place? The answer is no. So it's been shown repeatedly that he is just an impostor. He does not have the powers that he's trying to arrogate to himself. The truth is, the president has to talk to some elements within the party who do not recognize the fact that 2023 is still far away. And they are trying to tear themselves apart because of 2023. Look, whether we like it or not, Obaseki, yes, Obaseki matter is there, but at every opportunity, the different tendencies within the APC try to position themselves, try to emasculate one another, just with the 2023 in mind. You understand? Look at what is happening in Rivers now. You know that the chairman of Magnus's faction has now been recognized by the court. And the APC National Headquarters has said we will work with. So, do you expect Amechi to be happy?
With the leadership.
Even the people who organized the last coup with Oshiomhole, we know them. We know them.
The last coup against Oshiomhole.
The last coup that failed. When that court decided to return from the earlier decision to adjourn Senate to now say, okay, we grant him stay. The truth is, it will be very unfair for this matter to drag on for too long when it is not even the substantive matter. The substantive matter is to determine whether he was duly suspended. A man who was elected at the convention of the party, the national chairman of the party, can only be removed by the convention, the national convention. That is the biggest organ of the party, biggest decision-making organ of the party. We've not reached that point. And now you said, okay, step aside. Good. But in my view, the judiciary has to ramp things up first, so that decision.
Because things will sound.
Because we are dealing with jurisdiction, and it's taking this long. The substantive matter is still there, and it is clear for anyone who knows the law that APC has a constitution, and the constitution stipulates how you can remove somebody or suspend somebody of Oshiomhole's stature because he was elected at the national convention of the party. Somebody said, what is going on? Why can't they call a NEC meeting at this time? And I was speaking with another APC leader, and he said, how do we call NEC? NEC is a much bigger organ of the party. You can't call NEC at a time like this. It will be in clear violation of the COVID protocols. Because you know the president will be all the elected governors on the platform of the party.
The president, vice president, senate president,
the national,
speaker,
yes, all of those guys. And from each of the zones, there will be 3 House of Reps members representing each of the zones. You know, so the large number can't even make and the president you must get the president's buy-in before you can call it NEC meeting, where he will be in attendance, his deputy will be in attendance. How do you call that kind of meeting, NEC meeting at this time? It's difficult, but you know, if they can call it, it will solve all of these problems once and for all. But it's difficult to even contemplate it at a time like this. People will say, oh, they are the same people who say they are fighting COVID-19 and they are gathering.
Now, okay, I think I have a call from Jalingo. Bobby.